A prize pool of more than $5 million awaits. Welcome back to Millions UK. This is day 2 of the main event. Coming to you from dusk till dawn in Nottingham, England. A tournament field featuring some of the biggest names in the game. Jeff Platt alongside Brent Hanks in the broadcast booth. Brent, we have quite the treat at this feature table. Former World Series of Poker main event champion and our Millions World main event winner.
They're both world champions in my mind, Jeff. Ryan Reese winning the main event back in 2013. 23 big blinds and a dream. Has a little work to do today. And how about Adrian Mateos, the conquistador, the king of Baha Mar, where he took down the Party Poker Millions World Championship as well as the Super High Roller. Unbelievable year already.
It's down to 2 aces. Makes it 110K. Reese right behind him with the ace-6 of diamonds.
Problematic here for Ryan Reese. Mateos opening in a wider position. Can certainly have a lot of riffraff here. Nice discipline lay down by Reese.
Disciplined indeed. Just Dimitar Donchev with the Jack-9 of spades.
Gonna get involved with this
Come
stack,
along.
huh? On the button.
Just
Jack
$1 million
suited.
behind. Party Poker Team Pro, Roberto Romanello,
Yeah,
the
nice
10-9
price.
off.
Let's go ahead and call C3, 10-9.
3-handed to this flop.
Oh my
Jack-6 deuce with 2 spades. Dimitar top pair and a flush draw.
The dream flop for Dimitar. Hard to hit it any better than that.
Mateos' aces still best.
Incoming. Here we go, right away. Anticipate Mateos, Dimitar. This money is going in. I see no reason whatsoever for Dimitar not to move it in. Perhaps he thinks his hand is so strong he could simply just call one more time.
Mateos fires 225K. Dimitar 985K behind.
And he will just call. In his mind, he is absolutely trapping.
Roberto out of the way. Three of clubs on the turn. Mateos' hand still best.
And what's so difficult when you play against a guy like Adrian Mateos, his skill set, his caliber of play, he probably aware that Dimitar has a variety of flush draws here. We can rule out the times that he may have a set. I don't think that he should be calling with a pair like 2s or 6s. Perhaps it's pocket jacks, but maybe even something like King Jack. And I anticipate the money simply to just get in the middle.
Yeah, Adrian says all of it. Dimitar says, okay, let's go. He'll need a little bit of help on the river. You see it on the bottom left corner of your screen, 13 outs. Needs to find a jack, a 9, or a spade. Will Adrian's aces hold up?
Yeah, 30% equity. Here we go.
River card. 7 of hearts. Dimitar Donchev out early in the day 2 proceedings.
That's rough, man. You
Nice
feel like
pot
you've
for
just
Adrian
got all of it,
Mateos,
you know?
yeah.
Top pair, flush draw, and then you just take a look at the bulls. Mr. Mateos, hot start to the day for the Conquistador. The Spanish version of Christopher Walken would anticipate just a call by Mateos. Really no reason to move all in behind, although with Reese being short, and I believe Frederick also having fewer chips than Mateos, maybe we do apply max pressure. There it is, just a call.
Ace-King for Frederick Anderson in the small blind.
And this works out really well for Mateos, having not moved all in for this exact reason, right? We now give ourselves a way out. Unlikely that Frederick would ever get out of line in this spot.
Those time banks worth an additional 30 seconds. Tosses the time bank in, tosses all his chips in. Mateos out of the way. Well, the bad news for Luigi is he's behind. The good news is that he could triple up after this one.
30%. Hit a 9, plenty of hearts left in the deck. You saw Mateos' face after that, suggesting, oh man, I had it. Unlucky for him.
Can Luigi get lucky? Nine in the window. It comes 10-8-9. Luigi turns the tables after that flop. Frederick looking for a king. It's an 8 on the turn. 3 outs. If he finds one of them, Luigi's day is done. To 6 on the river. Just like that, Luigi Knopper's back in contention.
And that is more than a triple up for Luigi. 2.4 million now in his stack. I like this.
Makes
Look
it 325,000 with the jack
little
nine of diamonds.
baby sizing in position, saying, I'm the conquistador.
Yeah,
I'm
you
here
wanna
to
play
play
a pot,
ball.
let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, and I fully anticipate Adrian to be attacking the chip leader at this table. Mauricio in position. Love the sizing. Perhaps if we're out of position, we consider sizing it up.
King 3-3, 1 diamond. Couple backdoor draws for Mateos.
And Mateos, what's our plan? I'd like to see sort of a down bet around 225, smaller than what our C bet is. I don't really know what camp Mateos is in, if he's more of the larger continuation bet sizing or the smaller. Let's see what he employs here. And what we're trying to do is really dial up a couple streets, right? We want to make sure we pick up a little bit of turn texture that we can consider firing 2 shells.
Down bet to 235K.
And already just a difficult spot for Mauricio, saying, okay, I know he 3-bet me with ace-king, king-queen, but you're just not ready to give up. You're here to fight. So Mateos here looking to pick up a diamond or some sort of Broadway ticket that we can fire 2 shells.
Instead, it's the deuce of clubs.
A remarkably difficult spot now for Mateos. For the times that he was up against the club flush, this may slow down the action. Let's see what he decides to do.
Does check back. River's the 10 of diamonds.
I would have to believe that with this run out, he's just done with it. Mauricio likely to check once again. And it's up to Mateos to try and run a very thin bluff, in my opinion. He may consider playing a king the exact same way, where he'd bet the flop, the flush got there on the turn, he'd check behind, and then he'd look for a little thin value on the river. That's the story he may try and tell. I just don't know. We don't know if Mauricio has a fold button. We're uncertain if he would play a king this way. And with just jack high, it looks like we've got to try and give it our all.
He's going to go for it. That's 435,000.
And it looks strong, doesn't it, Jeff? Look at the sizing. How about that?
Wow.
Huh? That's beautiful.
Draws the quick fold from Mauricio. How about Adrian Mateos continuing to run over this table?
Probably the easiest way to play this hand is let's 3-bet in position, attack Roberto. Any resistance after that, we can easily just give up the ace-queen. Now, Roberto, what do you do with queen 10 suited? I don't think I have it in me to fold. I probably have to peel. And he will just give it up. That is disciplined stuff there by Roberto. I don't have it in me, Jeff.
It's too pretty of a hand for you to lay down.
Give me jack 10 suited, give me queen 10 suited. If I go to the felt with it, I go to the felt. You know, it's go down swinging with a suited connector. It's pathetic, really. That's why I'm in the booth, no longer playing in one of these main events.
That's why. That's the only reason.
Well,
that's what I tell myself. Yeah.
Where to begin? I want to get a Photoshop of Nasheed's mohawk on top of Roberto's head. I feel like they'd look very similar.
Probably so.
Or maybe Mauricio's head of hair.
Yeah, there we go. Strong hair game at this table.
Including this man right here, Mr. Christopher Walking and the Conquistador, Adrian Mateos. That's his full-length name.
3 bets Roberto again.
How active is he? We've seen 3 bets now with Jack-9 suited in position, Ace-Queen offsuit, and now Ace-5 suited all day. Mr. Mateos getting after it.
Does that start to annoy Roberto?
Maybe. You know, it's sort of just going to be clicking buttons as to how he decides to proceed. He's probably more comfortable with 3s than he was with Queen 10 suited. With 3s, we know if we hit it, we're just going with it. Queen 10 suited, we're sort of guessing every time it comes Queen or 10 high. Here we go.
Does make the call. Seven, 5, 3. Romanello flops a set. Mateos with 5s and a couple backdoor draws.
Jeff. It's that easy. And Mateos really has no reason to believe that his hand is behind. Would Romanello have 8s, 9s, 10s and take this line? Is this a sort of board we decide we'd want to check back from time to time? Or let's employ the down bet. 260,000. We have middle pair. Backdoor nut flush draw. And this time around, Roberto, similar to when he flopped a full house with 10s full, I would really like to see just a call. I don't want to see a check raise. Just shuts the hand down, and we are unable to win a larger pot.
Well, there is the check raise to 605,000.
And I'd be relatively surprised if Mateos continues. Then again, you know, do we suspect that our guy would check raise a set? Unlikely.
True.
So maybe it works out better in this situation than it does before. And there you can see Mateos, middle pair. He's got that backdoor flush draw, potential wheel scenario.
Just like that, more than $2 million in this pot. 9 of spades on the turn, which locks it up for Roberto.
Yeah, Mateos now easily just going to be done with it. $2 million in the middle. We anticipate Roberto to simply just move it in. It's a difficult spot. Let's just pretend that that's a 9 of hearts now, right? Look at the SPR. And I guess Roberto's not moving it in, so it could have worked out just fine for Mateos. He would have been getting a price to call and try and make a heart, but it's so hard to continue unless he just believes that his 5 is the best hand. Does he believe that Roberto is just out of line in this instance?
Good fold from Mateos.
Yeah, and
nice pot for Roberto.
Sort of surprised Adrian peeled. You know, maybe he feels obligated after c-betting and getting an okay price. But again, Jeff, even if we turn 4 hearts, God, we don't love it.
Yeah.
You know, we're sort of just putting a lot of chips in the middle in hopes that he doesn't just rip it in on the turn.
Reese about 15 bigs behind. Comes king 10-5, top pair for Roberto.
Roberto is so fascinating to me. Defending the king 6, Reese with a really nice check back here with ace jack, and my goodness, just buries the biscuit.
The straight.
Wow, all the gravy.
295K in the pot. Reese with 725K behind.
This sort of wet texture. How much for Ryan Reese? 175 feels right. How about 150? What do we do now? Top pair. I mean, we came along for the ride pre. We hit top pair. I know the board's ugly, but I think we just have to pay him the money here in this spot at least one time. Reevaluate on the river. I'd feel a lot better if I had any sort of club in my hand, clearly.
Does make the call. Ooh, the river is another king.
A disaster.
Yeah.
Really. This is
Never getting away for 575K.
likely to be a full double up here for Ryan Reese. Then again, it's Roberto. The guy just he really fascinating as to how he proceeds with his hands. And could he find a hero fold here in this spot? Yeah, maybe. Obviously, ace jack, jack nine, the club's got there. Could he have tens full? You know, unlikely that he'd have king X when you have a king in your hand. He's taking this much time as he, look at this, yeah, disaster.
Just going to lead out. He'll pay off that time bank and he'll pay off Ryan Reese here, most likely. Although, yeah.
Look at this. Reese thinking, God, there's no way he would just have king X, right? I mean, would it?
Right, and then, yeah. What else would he do that with?
This is just such a, I told you, Roberto fascinates me. This is an unorthodox, just I'm all in sort of line with this hand. It's, what are we targeting? Do we really think our opponent has a queen and then bets? This might actually work somehow. I don't think Roberto is intending to fold out a hand as strong as ace jack here.
Right. Is this actually going to work as a bluff? Not that it's intended to be one, but will it work as one?
No, this is not intended to be a bluff. In Roberto's mind, this is straight value. He thinks Ryan has a queen.
Hand might be too strong to fold.
I think that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You're not folding ace jack. You know, sometimes you got to pay in the money. Show me a winner. If you got it, knock the table, good hand, walk away. Always a new tournament tomorrow. Reese obviously giving credit to Roberto for having a hand like king 10, king queen, pretty much that exactly. Maybe somehow like pocket fives. Maybe a flush you could play this way.
Clubs.
Yeah. You know.
Check on the flop. Roberto check called a bet of 150K from Reese on the turn. And on the river, it's Roberto leading out here. Effective shove. Reese pained by this decision.
Reese really just saying, okay, are there any bluffs? No. So in his mind, what value does Roberto have that he's moving all in with? And he's got to decide if it's king X. And I think the bigger part of this is already what he said and vocalizes. My hand is just too good to fold.
That looks like his last time bank that he used, so he'll have 30 more seconds to act, and he's got to make a decision.
I am not a world champion, Jeff. I know that's hard to believe, but I think we have to call.
And Reese, it's just seconds to act.
I don't know what to do. I guess I'll fold.
He's gonna have to fold. Time ran out. Those cards are into the muck.
So one. If you want. There.
Oh no, don't show the 6-ball.
I'm good. The fact that you're trying to tilt me makes me think no, I don't care. But that makes me think that it's a good fold. Because I feel like if you bluffed me, you'd be acting different.
If I had a king, would you win it?
No. I could beat a king.
Oh, okay.
I told you that, no?
After the speech, he's not bluffing.
Ah?
After the speech, I think that you are not bluffing, but maybe you want to understand.
Or worse hand. Yeah. No, I didn't think he was bluffing. I thought you might have just been value betting a worse hand and shoving over pot.
And that's what happened.
Okay, now if I was you, I wouldn't watch the stream.
It's a good value.
You're gonna get more tilted. You're gonna get
I won't
more.
get tilted.
You know, more tilted. I never said tilted. You're already tilted.
I won't get more
More
tilted.
tilted.
I'll be okay.
I wouldn't watch it if I was you.
It's okay. I want to know. It's okay. I won't lose sleep over it, I promise.
It's only
But
fun.
if you bluff
It's
me,
a bit of fun.
or if you want to land with like king deuce, like for value with the worst
Yeah,
hand,
yeah.
then I'll just order a beer and I'll be
I
fine.
mean, your stack size. I could easily do that.
I'd overpot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I can make that bet. Like thinking you might call.
I didn't say that. There's nothing wrong with it.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
515 total. 455 behind. Okay, let's see.
Mateos now on the pounce.
Blind against blind. Reese on the short stack.
This is pretty much the bottom, too, for Mateos with the 9-6.
Not close enough.
You didn't call me after 3 seconds. I was hoping for it.
Queens for Reese. Under the gun.
Never a doubt. Right
Less than
back
10
in it.
bigs.
Something like that.
10?
It's getting dicey.
Huh? I'm close, yeah.
I could have a pair, right? Like,
You're winning either way, my friend.
Here it comes.
No, I mean the hand. You sure do.
oh, you never know.
This is why it's so good, isn't it?
Mauricio with sevens on the button.
575.
Pretty close with 2 sevens here in this spot. I don't really think that Ryan is ever shoving too wide, but certainly any pair would be all in. So we have all those other pairs notched. Not 2 queens.
And here we go, Ryan Reese. All in and at risk, but in good shape with queens against Mauricio's sevens.
Get right back in this thing. Reese the beast.
Double to more than 20 bigs. Comes Jack 3 deuce. Pretty safe flop for Reese. Mauricio will need to find a 7 to bust him. And finds
Oh my
that
goodness.
7 on the turn. Reese needs to hit a miraculous river. It doesn't
Oh
come.
my goodness, just shell-shocked here. Even Mauricio, that look.
¿Tenemos dinner break?
Roberto calls on the button with the ace-5 of spades. King-Jack for Luigi in the big blind. 20 bigs behind.
Yeah, this is sort of tough too. Roberto has exactly what I would anticipate him to have here. And again, it's a matter of what does Frederick open with? Is he wide? Back-to-back hands, just showed ace-king. Do we give him credit for having a good enough hand here? We could shove, or we could do what he just did, and that's call. Let's see, 3.
Flops an open ender.
Whoa.
Roberto flops the nut flush draw. Frederick's aces are best at the moment.
Everybody happy.
Everybody intrigued by this flop. Some action.
Yeah, and Frederick letting it soak in. We suspect Roberto should have some Broadway sort of holdings on the button. Obviously, we can see he has the nut flush draw, and Luigi likely to have hit this flop as well. It's exactly what's happened here. Decision time again for Luigi. Almost $1 million in the middle, and he has 1.2 behind. If we shove, do we suspect we're getting called? Likely, right? What do we give Roberto credit for? We know a queen is going to look us up. Frederick did continue in this pot. Have to be a little bit wary about him. I like this. Just call. Try and make our hand on the turn.
More than 1.1 million in the middle. It's a blank on the turn, the 4 of hearts.
Yeah, that is obviously clean for Frederick. I would be undeterred in this spot. Never worried about Luigi having me beat. And trying to get max value from Roberto. And, of course, denying equity from all of those draws. We need to put the pedal to the metal here. And let's bet something healthy, upwards of 800,000.
$675K is the bet on the turn.
Roberto now still getting a pretty good price. Implied odds after putting in an additional 675, being better than 4 to 1. Oh my goodness.
Wow, Roberto rips it in.
This is absolutely bananas. This looks like potentially a set. Would he do that with 2 10s? Very likely now with the presence of another flush draw. This is really twisted stuff by Roberto. My goodness.
After just calling on the flop, the Party Poker Team Pro rips it in there on the turn with the ace-5 of spades.
3, 7, 4,
Max pressure
3 million. 700.
put on Frederick Anderson.
This is really disgusting stuff, and we have the ace of hearts in our hand. We can eliminate that sort of combo. So what is it? Could he settle on maybe king jack of hearts? Was it just the spade flush draw initially, or would he play a flop set just like this?
5 seconds.
Has some time extension cards. We expect he'll be using some. There's one. Stare down from the Swede. Can he find the call?
Just trying to pick up any bit of tell or nervousness, something uncomfortable about Roberto, and he is just poised. Brutal spot.
Another time extension used, another 30 seconds to act.
He's going to try and find some more stuff that he can beat. How about Queen X of spades? Certainly have to consider that holding. Question is, would he ever just move it in? Big gulp there.
Another time extension. Does the shove look even stronger, considering he still had Luigi to act?
I don't really think you're worried about Luigi. He only had 900 and some thousand left.
But could that look stronger to Frederick?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
I don't think so. We already knew that it didn't matter, right? If you have a monster, you almost would want to call again.
I think that's the last of it as far as his time extension cards go. So a final 30 seconds left to act. If he does not act, his hand will be declared dead, which will be just fine for that man, Roberto Romanello. Putting Frederick to the test.
There are just so many hands he could have here that would be draws. I mean, think about it. 5-6 of spades. What do you do with that?
5 seconds. 3, 2.
Countdown is on.
Wow.
And there is the laydown.
What do I have?
Do you want to see it and see it, or you can wait 30 minutes?
I want to say.
He wants to see.
8-9 hard.
He will see the ace-5 of spades. All right, so we'll switch out feature tables. And how about this one, Brent? We have Liv Boeree. We have the reigning defending World Series of Poker main event champion, Hossein Ensan.
Are we inside Liv Boeree's headphones? What are we listening to here, huh?
That music is rocking. Is that playing out there on the tournament floor? There's Ludo. Ludovich Geilich, the Party Poker Team Pro, with a massive stack. So this will be fun when we come back. Go off to a break in about 5 minutes. And we'll return with this table as our featured table at the Party Poker Live Millions UK. After Ludo opened with the ace-4 diamonds.
Such a wonderful spot to 3-bet on the button. Maybe he has a trap in mind. If I recall, I don't think so. Not with the stacks behind him. No one's really ever squeezing, getting out of line here. Let's just look suspicious. When you're wearing glasses like that, Chicago Bulls t-shirt, you need to take advantage of your image.
And he makes it 525K.
And Ludo, I guess a decision really. You're plenty deep, you could peel.
3 years, you've run it that long.
The kids these days are 4-bet blasting with the suited ace wheel
It's a lot of
cards.
history, you see.
I don't really care much for it.
It's a lot of history.
Blockers are slightly overrated.
Ludo will come along, you'll see one diamond on this
flop.
flop.
I like him.
10-9-7.
Oh, it's lovely. I just need poker.
The things he was saying about him earlier on the break, I tell you what, it was not nice.
How about this?
No,
Check,
don't
check.
wrap my pal like
Very
that.
under rep.
Yeah, have some respect.
Sort of gross texture.
As Christopher
only
continues to
poker.
take shots at Usman.
Poor guy's in a hand, Christopher. Just let him breathe for crying out loud.
For now.
Some people get so personal, get so upset. You've both got lovely hair. Lovely hair.
We're talking about his hair.
Lovely.
Same. Who won the bets?
And Ludo
Who won the bets?
Try.
says, I have all the 8s. I have all the sets.
We were,
I have all the 2-pair. I have all the heart. I'm going to try and bluff this man off 2 kings. And for the times that he does check back a hand like ace-queen, ace-king, ace-jack suited that we suspect he could have 3-bet with, this works. However, have to believe if I'm Usman, checking back this flop, I'm really not worried about that 6 on the turn. This is what it's designed to do. We can pick off plenty of bluffs. We're in position. Pot is not out of control.
yeah.
2.2 million now in the middle, 3.4 behind. And how about top set?
Just in case you
Any
weren't too
good?
comfortable.
Yeah.
King on the river.
Does it change much? Not really. An 8 is still a straight. We now beat all of the 2-pair combos. Queen Jack gets there. I just think Ludo is probably one and done. For the times that we're sticky with ace king, that's come home. Asking a lot out of the hand. If we're going to bet here, it's going to have to be an overbet just to simply represent some sort of straight.
2.2 million in the pot.
How about this? He's
Ludo
just going
bets
to
about
say,
half of it.
I have an 8. He's going to tell that story. 1.1 million. I don't believe it's going to work, but you can see Usman's face. He doesn't love it. Like, okay, well, it looks like an 8. Must be an 8. Still going to call.
I'll just make the call. Nice pot for Usman Ulhak.
A fun day, huh? We started off with world champion Ryan Reese. Now here we are with Hossein Ensan. We're learning a lot about alternative energy from Ben Heath and Liv Boeree.
Ace 4 for Liv. Will she shove 3 times in a row out of the small blind against the short stack in the big? She will. Ensan folds again. And a couple jacks for her as well.
Can you do that when he goes 48? Can you go to 140?
Ludo with the 9-8 will defend.
180 is fine.
Comes ace queen 10. Got shots for both. Liv's jacks are best. Goes check check. Another 10 on the turn. Check, check once again. Blink on the river.
Yeah, it looks to me that Ludo is not even going to even bother. Liv showing showdown value, significant strength.
Liv just fine with checking back.
Yep.
Ludo slam down that 9-8.
160.
Their goal is to ensure that donations have the highest possible impact. reg-charity.org for more on raising for effective giving. The bar is starting to fill up as more and more eliminations occur. 111 are left.
Can I just see how much? Do you have a pink? I don't want it.
Obviously, Heath has smashed this, taking some time. How much?
Settles on 330K. Quick fold for Francisco. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Jeff Platt. He's at bhanks11. And Brent just posted. He finished in third, and he picks up ace king of clubs here.
I have no idea how Ben Heath finished in third place.
Never had chips.
Starting stack
really
was
never
1
had
million chips
yeah.
in that event, and he finished in third place by never getting above 2.5 million.
Ensan with 10s. About 12 bigs. All of it for the champ.
All the ponies off to the races. Here we go.
Rest of the field clears out. Heath will call. Hossein Ensan all in and at risk.
He's cheering for ace king off.
With 2 red 10s against the ace king of clubs. So put Ensan up to almost 2.2 million. Safe flop for him. 7-8-7. Betting gives him the good game. Got a backdoor flush draw. For now needs an ace or a king.
Make it interesting.
3 of diamonds. Heath down to 6 outs. Ensan looking to stay alive, and stay alive he does with the jack on the river.
Timely double up there for the World Series of Poker main event champion 2019. Back in this thing.
I mean, when you're the champ, you're pretty good at flips.
Yeah, you're sort of used to winning.
It's a skill by now.
Betting the bullet, might I add. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's only in for one
Probably
single
so.
bullet. And I love these blind-on-blind battles, especially against two just remarkably intelligent minds. How about the sizing here from Liv Boeree to 300,000? Does this sort of tame the beast that is Ben Heath? We limped in with King 9, a bit on the stronger side, really, for our limping raise. So we could be considering raising with this hand. Now, do you consider folding? I don't think so. I think you're still getting an okay price to hit the streets and play post. We know Liv can be raising to 300,000 or slightly larger with worse. Nice job, Liv Boeree gets it done. Ben sort of feels abused there. Did you see the roll of the
reluctant lay down?
Yeah. Rolling down the street in my 6-4.
What?
Don't worry about it.
Jack 10-5 with 2 spades. Top pair, top kicker for Liv Boeree. Nut flush draw for Ben Heath.
Action.
$600K in the pot. Heath checks. Liv also with a backdoor diamond draw. She'll fire 375,000. Francisco out of the way.
Yeah, and this is really sort of what we believe to be a passive line by Heath. I don't suspect he's looking to check raise here. Maybe, you know, if he does, Liv is not in love with her hand. What hands would he consider check raising with? I suspect he may even consider check calling with hands like queens, kings, and aces, let alone flush draws. And how about this? Here it comes.
Yeah, the check raise to 1.16.
So much for the conservative route. We are hitting the ground running. Nut flush draw. Doesn't even really worry him that he could potentially be up against a jack. Ace jack, not the best hand to be up against. Your ace is no longer live.
Liv makes the call. Sizable pot developing here.
And as wet as this texture is, Liv is giving Ben a lot of credit for having some sort of big draw here.
There's the 9 of hearts on the turn, so the open-ended straight draw for Heath also.
Yeah, what a wonderful card for him showing up. Now King-Queen gets there. Could it potentially be King-Queen that check raised? Was it ever King-Queen of spades exactly that could have check raised? Everything comes home. This is really terrible texture now for Liv, and wonderful for this man, Ben Heath, who is on the move.
2 million behind. It all goes into the middle.
Decision time. Would he just shove King-Queen? Would he do this with a set of 10s? If you're trying to find some sort of semi-bluff, you'd have to land on something exactly like this. Ace-8 of spades, maybe 8-9 of spades, where we'd still be shoving with a pair and a flush draw and an open-ender.
Into the muck. A pot for Ben Heath.
Yeah, and that's beautiful stuff. Before that hand really started to develop, I was under the impression that Ben Heath was going to be check calling, playing that hand sort of straightforward, right? He used that image of his to an advantage. Liv's in great shape here at the moment. However, the power position, sometimes it just doesn't matter. Maybe Usman has other plans for every time he doesn't connect on any sort of texture. Seemingly, Liv should have the better ace in this situation. Usman could certainly be flatting the button with ace-jack, ace-queen. She's going to study this and find a c-bet. And if Usman decides to float, And I fully expect him to with that backdoor flush draw, power of position. He could take this away on later streets. I'd like to see him call 175. Represent a number of medium pairs that he would also not be giving up on. Liv knows all this.
He does make the call. Turn is a 9 of spades. Flush draw now for Liv.
Yeah, very
Nines for
interesting
Usman.
card. And it's the sort of card where I expect Liv to maybe consider betting twice as a form of a semi-bluff. Still trying to fold out medium pairs. If she had an ace in her hand, she'd be doing exactly that. On the flip side, Jeff, for the times that Usman is floating, we could also consider a world in which we're looking to check jam. I think this is the safer route. You'd hate it to go check, and then you've missed out on that opportunity to simply just barrel here and take the pot down. Usman, decision time, either way ahead or way behind. If we just assume Liv has an ace here, we can get off of this 9 pretty easily. I just don't know if he's a believer. So hard to come up with 2 barrels with, let's say she had king, queen of hearts. Unlikely to be betting again. It would have to be this sort of holding to fire 2 shells. And it looks like he is.
Calls again.
Yeah, a non-believer.
The river is the deuce of spades. The flush comes in for Liv Boeree with 1.2 million behind.
Jeff, you know what to do here, right?
I imagine she's going to put a decent amount of her chips in the middle.
I'd wager all of them.
Yeah.
About a half pot
There
size
it
shove.
is,
And
all of it.
Usman now beats literally nothing, really, other than just a stone
Just
cold
a
bluff, right? The
A bluff
spades
that
get
fired
there.
every street.
She had the ace. By the way, ace X of spades is also a combination that could be out there. It's just so hard. Would she ever empty the clip with just nothing but air? Maybe. You know, we just don't know what the frequency is, but when you've been called twice, it's so hard to fire that 3rd shell with just nothing. And I think Usman's going to come to that realization.
1,150,000.
Time extension used, granting him an additional 30 seconds to act.
I give Usman a lot of credit for sticking around all the way here until the river. He did have the best hand, and I give him even more credit here for finding this fold. Came to the correct realization that she just has to have it. That it may have just gotten there on the river. I think he's figured it all out.
Does make the correct laydown.
Nice pot nonetheless for Liv Boeree.
Back up to 3.6 million.
Interesting here now for Liv. Decision time. Queen high. Is it enough showdown value? We picked up a gutter. Do we consider maybe just sort of coughing on the pot, if you will, Jeff?
That was well played.
Hossein, I think, has a no-brainer. Let's bet. We're open-ended to the 9 high straight. I think we just need to bet there, Hossein. Or, you know what, the
Yeah,
heck with
why?
it. You know what, who cares? Let's
Why would
just,
you bet when you just get there on the
the
river?
reality is, though, for the times we do put extra chips in and we get called, we should be able to make an even larger bet on the river and get paid off. Keep your opponent guessing. Liv just trying to get the showdown there with queen high. Now we've got the one-liner to the straight. Still a curious cat, but I think we ultimately just have to fold.
Francisco for the third time at this featured table. Ludo rips it in on the button, facing the two short stacks in the blinds. Francisco happy to call off with queens. Chris out of the way. Francisco in good shape to double up his queens.
In this a6 shove, this is a layup shove, considering both stack sizes in the blinds. Extremely short. Still 30% to win this hand.
Ludovich Geilich looking to bust Francisco. And spikes an ace on the flop.
It can be so dirty at times. Francisco needs a queen or some sort of help on the turn.
That turn card, no help whatsoever. 5 of hearts. Francisco down to 2 outs with his tournament life on the line. River card is the 8 of clubs. That'll do it for Francisco Carrera.
It's just not fair, Jeff, over and over again. How many times are we going to see it?
Yeah, why
Ludovich Geilich, the Party Poker Team Pro.
So, Jeff, if my math is correct, then that means
This table's pretty short.
we only have to lose 30 more. And we're done for the day. Nice spot here for Ben. King 10 suited. Gets to play it directly heads up from the big blind. Happy to see 3.
Does defend. Comes Jack 6-3, the Jack of Hearts.
And
Little
very
backdoor
dry
draws for Ben.
texture. I don't believe that Benjamin is going to be check folding here. I certainly wouldn't. One would assume that Ludo going to continue here with his 2 queens somewhere around half pot.
That's 235.
Yeah, I'm just not done with it with 3 to the Royal. I'm still going to fight. He's going to give it up. That is perhaps maybe with the payouts sort of looming.
18. Meanwhile, Usman raises in the cutoff with the Queen Jack, makes it 225K. Then Heath out of the small blind. Make the call with the ace deuce of hearts. Boeree in the big with 3 deuce of spades.
Yeah, totally fine. Let's see 3 getting a wonderful price. Heath, yeah, I think I like this with the ace deuce suited. I wouldn't mind seeing a 3-bet. Call once in a while, and especially flop top pair like this. How about Boeree?
Yeah, with a flush draw. Checks around.
Yeah, no surprise with the check back here by Usman. Even if I had an ace, I would consider checking.
3 ball for Liv to go along with that flush draw.
One of those way
That
ahead,
ace
way
is still
behind
good.
situations. Let's see what Heath does. He knows that Usman would check behind many of his aces. Of course, the action is on Heath right there. He'll check again. Nothing but a bluff catcher. I would love to see Liv fire here. She has all of the 6s. If I had a 6, what would my sizing be? Obviously, this is going to be what I would suspect would be some. Maybe she just thinks it's going to check around a lot. Certainly a semi-bluff for her.
It does check around. 4 of hearts on the river. Heath's hand is best.
My goodness. Heath knows that Liv unlikely to check a 6 there on the turn. The only one that he's really worried about. And if Usman has it, so be it. It looks like Usman could be just trying to get the showdown with maybe some sort of middling pair. He's going to go ahead and bet a healthy $485,000. And Liv now very curious. Would Heath do this with King, Queen, King, Jack suited? Turning those hands into bluffs, trying to force a fold from 3x, 4x, potentially even what we suspect Usman could have with maybe 7s or 8s. It would be asking quite a lot, but certainly looks like he could have an ace here, right? She's taking her time. Perhaps considering not just calling, but could we still raise here and represent a 6? Could we somehow have 5-7 suited? Really, the world is her oyster.
Thought about it.
Just a muck.
Laid it down. Usman folds as well. Ben Heath picks up that pot.
Attack, attack, attack. He will not be taking off many buttons, that's for sure.
Chris with deuces.
I would
defend.
Really prefer to see Chris shove there rather than call. Knowing how wide Ludo should be opening. Then again, when you know you're going to flop a set of mallards, you got Huey, Dewey, and Louie, all the ducks on the pond, and
there
your
they
opponent
are,
has
finally.
middle pair. Look at this.
The set of deuces.
Don't shove now, please. Doesn't always have an ace. He never has an ace.
Bad like that. Voodoo. What do you think?
Set the trap, Chris.
I don't know.
This is actually
Instincts I get. How
quite
special powers that is.
the sizing, 150 more. This is going to be hard for Ludo. Look at this, quick call. He is a non-believer saying, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. What would you be check raising? You never have an ace. Wouldn't you just shove pre? Even if you did have an ace, it would have to be aces up in order to check raise. This doesn't make sense. Non-believer. I knew we should have raised on this flop, Jeff.
That salad you had.
The turn's the 4 of hearts. Chris leads for 375K.
Oh, salmon you had. I didn't see. The other guy loved it.
Pluto's still very curious here. Just doesn't
It's like
believe
a
him.
6 out of 10.
It's all right.
Three of hearts on the river.
A relatively gross run out. One liner to a straight. The hearts gets there. Maybe now it makes Ludo's fold a little easier on the river. Saying, okay, you could have been bluffing this whole time, and all of a sudden now you get there. But what 5 is it? That has to be ace 5 exactly that he decided to check raise. Doesn't it look like a lot of diamonds have missed? He's very curious still with the 6.
That's what he's thinking now. Check raise with diamonds makes sense. Bet on the turn with diamonds makes sense. Use a time extension for an additional 30 seconds to act.
Yeah, he's so curious. It just doesn't make sense. He's eliminated all the value hands that would have been two pair combos. Doesn't give him credit for a set. Thinks all the pairs would have been shoved in pre.
Chris has been pretty quiet throughout the day.
I think Ludo ultimately believes he has a missed flush draw. Notice him not stirring around in that chair anymore. Maybe a little too comfortable. He knows his deuces are good.
Another time extension used.
This is the most comfortable we've seen Chris look all day. Not moving around back and forth, not playing with his hands, just frozen.
And again, hasn't really been active throughout the day. But Miss Flush Draw makes a little sense. Finally, Ludo finds the correct fold.
Nice fold. I think he was really close to calling there. I really do.
Playing down to 60 tonight, then everybody will be in the money. Before we go to break as well, let's take a look at the chip counts. Ludo and Usman with more than 6 million in chips. Ben Heath about 5 million. A drop off before Boeree and Hossein Ensan, who will need to make some moves in the next level. Jeff Platt alongside Brent Hanks. And Brent, here we go, at least approaching the bubble.
It's unfortunate, Jeff. Somebody on this stream today going to go home with $0 as we approach this bubble. And how about this home court advantage for this entire table with the exception of this guy, Hossein Ensan. All in right now for his life, ace-10 of hearts.
Everyone from the UK here, except for our German main event champion, and that champion is in some trouble. To kick things off, Ben Heath looks him up with the ace-king of clubs. It's the ace-10 of hearts for Hossein Ensan.
Used mid-conversation when I realized I was slow rolling, and then realized I hadn't checked properly and was like...
It's not cool.
Can Ensan get a little lucky? It comes 5-4-3 with 2 hearts, flops the flush draw. Wheel draw for the chop.
Off to a hot start. That's as pure as it gets. We talked about this, Jeff. He just won the main event. He can't lose this hand.
The champ does not lose the ace-10 to ace-king confrontation. Case in point right there. 4 of hearts on the turn for Hossein Ensan.
1 point.
And he doubles up to more than 4 million.
And the second time he's doubled up through Ben Heath. Now all of a sudden it is Ben Heath who's fallen under the 3 million chip mark.
Blind 60K, 120K with a 120,000 big blind ante. Those blue chips he just snagged worth 100K apiece. Orange chips worth 25K. Purple's worth 5K.
It's fine.
Now finds herself in a tremendous situation, having ace-7 dominating 7-6. Chris can't even look. He's looked away.
Flop comes Jack 5-6 with 2 diamonds. So Christopher flops a 6. Liv flops the nut flush draw.
Christopher had that look in his eye where he is a non-believer. Fully anticipate this to be an all-in pot.
Liv bets 300,000.
He'll just call. Comes along for the ride.
Call from Christopher. Turn is the king of spades.
This really is a perfect card for Liv to just stuff 1.4 in the middle here. There's 1.3 in the pot. Using that king to her advantage. She has all the kings in her range. And if you get called, well, oopsies, you at least have the nut flush draw. Likely has her opponent pegged on a jack, a 6, a 5, maybe some sort of straight draw.
She'll bet most of it, bets 900,000. Quick fold from Christopher, well played, Liv Boeree. Takes down a really crucial pot at this point in the tournament.
Really nice stuff.
Ace-king for Usman on the button.
We can't get the clock up on there, can we? We can't get the clock on that screen, can we? No, just so I don't have to keep turning around.
Will effectively shove. Heath calls in the big blind with ace-8. He'll see the bad news. He'll need a little help to stay alive. Ace-king for Usman, ace-8 for Ben Heath.
Yeah, it was close for Ben Heath. Ace-8 just too good. You know, we know Usman can get carried away. Should be shoving worse. Is shoving worse, most definitely. I would sort of categorize this as a bit of a cooler.
we go. Can Heath get a little lucky? King in the window. Basically flop dead. Backdoor draw to a chop, or could go 8-8. It's a queen on the turn. That'll do it for Ben Heath. Valiant effort, just couldn't really get anything going today.
They tried to get 3 starting stacks there, and you know, a nice play there by Usman, just shoving ace-king on the button. It looks weaker than what it really is, rather than just a min-raise. Obviously, we know if he's shoved, he's still snapping. The money was going in that situation no matter what. Ben Heath couldn't do anything about it. And he can go home, sleep happy at night. He played, once again, another flawless tournament, and once in a while, you just don't cash. Dara just got here. We have no reason to believe that this fella is out of line. I mean, he wrote a satellite book, for crying out loud. Probably going to be on the snug side.
Wow, here we go. The champ makes it 810K.
And this is great. How about this? Let's just try and exploit him.
Ludo
Let's abuse.
with the ace-king of spades.
It's not going to work, is it, Jeff? It's about to get haywire. I still really like Hossein's 3-bet.
Same.
In position.
All of it from Ludo.
And part of, I believe it's in chapter 3, talks to you a little bit about posturing and stalling. And eyeing your opponent up and down who just won the World Series of Poker main event.
And finding the fold.
Yeah, it's frustrating when you've 3-bet 10-9 suited thinking, why didn't I just flat? I could have seen 3 in position. I still really like it. And now they're guessing. Ludo, what does he have? Is this just a cold 4? Putting this to the test? Unlikely. He's woke up, folks. Running hot, playing great.
Usman, the Jack-10 of diamonds.
Never folding this, ever. Not in a million years when you get to open up against Christopher the Flu and Dara the Satellite King.
All of it from Christopher.
Christopher's going to find himself in a great spot here.
He really is. Ludo has 4s in the big blind.
Maybe. Never forget about Ludo. Actually did not see him in the hand. Opportunity to potentially isolate here with pocket 4s. If that were the case, I'd like sort of the min raise to 900 or so, or just this. How about this? We just get a great price to call. And I don't think there's room for Usman to raise through this. I'm not sure if we can raise, but regardless, even if we can,
you can.
I wouldn't enjoy it.
Right,
not when you've got
right.
Ludo overcalling. That suggests to me that he's got a pretty decent hand. Clearly, we can see it's just 4s, but we know he's going to get a great price that's implied for every time we do get to C3 to try to eliminate a player.
Christopher in line for the triple up. It's ace-10 up against the Jack-10 of Usman and the 4s of Ludo, which are ahead at the moment. As it comes 6-5, 6-1 diamond. Quick check, check. 7 of diamonds on the turn.
Ludo now thinking that he should bet. With the quick check back by Usman suggests that he does in fact just have 2 Broadway cards, 2 overcards. We can deny equity from those hands. Clearly now we see that Usman has picked up a flush draw. Unlikely to go anywhere.
Ludo will bet out for 675K.
Just getting a nice price here. I would not be overly concerned about being up against a full house. I think Ludo would maybe consider checking a full house. No, I'd bet a full house if I had it here with the flush draw hitting the turn. So certainly a cause for concern. But either way, I'm just not folding Jack-10 of diamonds. I need to see that river.
Usman isn't folding either.
And Ludo can now sort of figure out where Usman is at in the hand. Likely to have turned a flush draw. Maybe he just flopped them dead, could have fives full already.
Deuce of hearts on the river. Ludo has this one locked.
And a side pot has been created, so maybe if Ludo were to check here, Usman could try and take it away. But it just looks like more flush draws than full houses to be the case, and Ludo can win an even larger pot.
Christopher already up with the jacket on.
Looks like
Ludo
elected
leads.
Two bet. I guess it's just showdown the winner quite happily.
All right, bro. Nice to meet you, man. Take care.
Okay, Christopher bummed out. Gonna bust this thing. Hope he feels better. He was a delight for most of the day, no doubt about it.
He was fun. Ace king for Liv.
Timely.
Makes it 350K. Off a little bit more than a 15 big blind stack.
And opening in relatively early position, +1. I know we've got a pair here, James, deuces, but need to be concerned about only being 5 spots out of the money.
What about this pair?
This is
Eights
really
for
tough.
Chris.
I like this. Just going to come along with the call. I've been impressed with Chris and his decision pre-flop. Once again here, rather than just stuffing 2 8s, let's go ahead and take a look at some texture. C3. Reevaluate. You can see the field upper left has now dropped to 64 players remaining. Only 4 off the money.
Comes 10-7 deuce.
That's favorable. Now, Liv, how do we proceed? We can assign Chris's calling range from the small blind to be quite narrow, likely to be maybe king-jack suited at the worst, queen-jack suited, a lot of king-queens, and wisely checking back because it's also a lot of these medium pairs. 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s. Jack's likely all in pre-flop, but he may just call those hands too.
Liv does turn a gut shot.
And I think the door's open now with this texture, with this turn card, with the queen. We need to fire a shell and put Chris to the test. So difficult now to continue with 2 8s. A perfect turn card for Liv to do so. Not to mention she has the ace of clubs in her hand for insurance, just in case she needed to rep a club on a river.
She'll bet 550,000.
And this should just win the pot. Certainly Chris knows that Liv would be betting this queen with her ace-jack and ace-king holdings, but handcuffed, nothing you can do. Not deep enough, horrible texture. Considering we know Usman is opening very wide in late position, as he should be. Ace-7. She's honestly flipping a coin. I could shove here a lot, probably pick up the pot. I could clearly just defend, but I'm rarely hitting the flop. Going to be hard to navigate with this stack size. I would lean, personally, all in here. I think Liv is going to take the lower variance approach. Considering you're on the bubble, 4 players away, I don't mind it.
She does call.
It's pretty close.
She does check the ace-king-8 flop.
It certainly
Flops
makes
aces.
things easier.
Gut shot and a backdoor flush draw for Usman.
And a very small bet here by Usman saying, I've got all that. That's my texture.
Liv check calls.
And Usman really could consider trying to 2-barrel Oh, my goodness.
Oh, the Jack of Hearts rolls off on the turn. Broadway for Usman.
Now he certainly will consider two-barreling. And there was certainly a case to be made where maybe we could fold out a variety of kings, rarely an 8, given the price. But what a dream of a turn card here for Usman.
He'll bet 500,000.
Remarkably difficult spot now for Liv. We have top pair. Our guy is two-barreling on this sort of wet texture. And not a huge bet either, only 500,000 into roughly 1.2. Critical decision time for Liv. I certainly would not falter for calling one more time. She has to know, or at least anticipate, the likelihood of facing an all-in river shove, and oh boy, disaster.
And she's the one who shoves. Usman calls, and Liv Boeree will be drawing dead here. That'll do it for Liv Boeree. Just a couple spots off the money. Party Poker Live Millions UK main event. Always a blast to have Liv at our feature table.
Yeah, truly a delight. Devastating to bubble. 4 spots off the money. Certainly disappointed. Oh boy, this could be it.
Here we go. As we take a look at one of our outer tables.
Another Mohawk. Second one in the field.
You see that all-in triangle.
Last year, Jeff.
It's not me sneezing.
Most definitely was. You're right. Right here.
So when we do have an all-in and a call, they hold up, wait to see if the similar situation arises at any other table. This is an all-in pre between Andrzej Goetz and Michael Almrot. Almrot being the one at risk. So again, that is an all-in and a call, waiting to see if there's an all-in and a call at another table. And then we will proceed. Okay, here we go.
Okay, we have
at this outer table, Kuljinder Sidhu has the Jack-8 of clubs.
What?
On a 6-3-5-7-3
boy,
board with
that's
2
Jack high.
clubs.
That can't be
That
good.
is just Jack high. And that's Peter Chen with kings.
Whoa.
So Kuljinder Sidhu has been eliminated. So we know for sure that the bubble has burst. We will go back to that other hand that we saw developing between Andrzej Goetz and Michael Almrot. I mean, he's all in
He's
that
at risk.
They
Okay,
could
here he
split
is.
a 60th place payout.
All right.
Okay, on the call number 2, table 41.
Here we go.
Let's see him. We're ready. Goetz first to show, maybe? Goetz
Queens.
shows queens. Almrot has aces. He does have the goods. Can the aces hold up? Up comes King, King 3.
It's favorable.
So far, so good for Almrot's aces.
That's it.
Another king
That's
on
a lock.
the turn. Michael Almrot stays alive, makes
Okay,
the
double.
money at the Party Poker Live Millions
Okay,
UK
can I
main
players
event.
return to your seats? You have made the end of the day. Congrats all.
So 60 players remain. 60 players make the money. 60 players come back tomorrow. They'll join our 16 online qualifiers.
Please clearly write your names and chip counts on your bags as well as the sheets. And do not bag up your time bank cards. You'll get new ones tomorrow. No time banks are to be bagged.
Thank you very much.
And Brent, let's bag and tag.
That's it, my
How about
man.
that
was
for an
quick,
action-packed end of the
painless,
day?
Huh? Wow. Did not take many hands to slide into the money, and of course, one of them was an ultimate cooler, and the other one was just an ultimate heroic bluff gone bad.